Experts feel that it was a rather bold move for you to reduce the rich tax from 42.7% to 39 in what is an election year. But is it that you've given some and taken away from the other hand as well, and so it's a zero-sum game in a sense?
Where have I taken away?
The real estate, earlier you could move money to real estate. Now the cap is 10 crore. Beyond 10 crore, there is no. There are a couple of.
That's not taking away. It is like saying, I mean, beyond 10 crore of a house that you have, why do you want to also expect favors for a second or the third or the fourth?
Correct.
And there have been instances, I might say, without revealing any names or any kind of people who have bought house, sold house, made immense profits out of it, but who still enjoy these sort of, 10 crore house, I should still get my benefits from the government.
So the bold move in an election year.
But I'm not give and take there. Okay. I've not given away something and taken away something. I'm only giving. Okay. I've not taken away anything.
So that's as I said, a bold move in an election year, because people don't expect you to do it.
No, but if you're referring to the surcharge, which I brought down, and which therefore is going to give benefit to some of the upper middle class and high net worth individuals.
That's right.
It's also because the Indian tax system should be seen for not being so harsh. With your 30% surcharge, you were reaching a total tax of 42 point something, 75 or something.
42.7%, yeah.
42% of tax taken away. Even a person who's that, talented enough, skilled enough, and is paid very well for his contribution to the firm and has a good earning.
Yes.
Take away nearly 42.7. Doesn't make our system look fair.
Right.
And therefore we brought it down.
MNCs are looking at a China plus one strategy. So you've also spoken about it in your budget speech. We've seen that the manufacturing and export of mobile phones from India has really gone up. Which are the other sectors in manufacturing that could benefit out of this China plus one?
Well, the PLI that we've given out with 13 sectors is definitely a China plus one list, which is sunrise sectors, which are important sectors for India to have its own strength. That's exactly the China plus one kind of a.
Okay. There is a funding winter in the startup ecosystem. In fact, some of the startups that were doing really well have come off their valuation highs. What is the government specifically planning to do about this? This government has done a lot for the startup community in the last few years. So what next? What would you do?
Well, I think the funding is also waiting to see more innovative startups claim for the next stage. It's not as if it's a funding winter, or it's not now a scarcity of funds. It's more funds seeing the opportunity that is available for them. And they want to look at better options also, even among the startups. Right. And India, which started in 2016 in a major push, I'm sure startups existed before, but the push happened with the Honorable Prime Minister in 2016 announcing a policy and subsequently coming up year after year some concession. So they also go through a cycle, one round done, the next round of good options. They are there. They will, I'm sure, be available.
Nirmala ji, you will be meeting the G20 finance ministers and central bank governors later this month in Bangalore. What is your message to them, and what are your main agenda items that you will take up and highlight?
The agenda, of course, is by now fairly well determined. We will be talking about the debt situation globally, because many countries, which were even middle income countries, have suddenly got into debt traps. And those traps are really vicious traps. They're not able to come out of it. Now, during the pandemic, debt servicing, there was a scheme which the IMF and also looking at the G20 formulation, there was a plan which had come, debt servicing. And many of these countries didn't have to service their borrowing for a certain period because of the pandemic, and there was a call for extending it. It was extended. But we are also making sure that enough monies are available with these institutions, multilateral institutions, so that they are able to better respond to situation, have better leverage over the funds that they already have with them. So these are matters of discussion. Debt servicing, also debt financing, multilateral finance institutions and their reforms, about which Honorable PM has spoken several times: UN reform, IMF reform, WTO reform, World Bank reform, and so on. So we'll be discussing many of these. Also looking at a global kind of a SOP to be available, to be agreed upon for regulating crypto assets, whilst recognizing the central bank as the authority for issuing cryptocurrency. The rest of the assets which are being created outside, which are using very useful financial technologies, even those will have to be discussed, because regulation cannot be done by any one country singularly. It has to be a collective action, because technology doesn't brook any borders.
Okay. Nirmala ji, you have to answer this question, specific question. You've presented 5 budgets so far. Which has been the most memorable budget?
Very difficult to say. Each one had its own challenge, but well, each one has its own charm.
Okay. Now, one last question. After months of hard work, you managed to put this whole thing together. How does Nirmala Sitharaman unwind? What do you do? Do you ever take a break? What do you do to unwind?
Well, listen to a lot of music.
What music do you listen to?
Classical Indian music, both Hindustani and Carnatic. I sleep well every day.
I think we should be in a happy routine. We should be in a happy place that the finance minister of the country sleeps well.
Absolutely, because we have a good prime minister who's got that kind of a vision, and the strength of the leadership that he brings along helps the country. So
yes, that too.
Good sleep.
Thank you, Nirmala ji, for your time. Thank you for the first interview to a private channel and a streaming service. And more importantly, congratulations on a very well delivered budget. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for giving me this opportunity.
News 18 India की वेब सीरीज FIR नंबर 208 स्ट्रीमिंग टुडे।